Sister started her business by stealing my inheritance money, but karma hits her and business goes sideways. I, 28M, lost my dad last year to a sudden heart attack. It's been tough, especially dealing with the consequences involving my stepmom, 45F, and stepbrother, 15M. Dad and I were close, but things were always tense with Karen, my stepmom. Dad was well off and owned 2 houses, our family home in the suburbs and a beautiful vacation house by Lake Tahoe. In his will, he left the family home to Karen and the lake house to me. The lake house was special to us because we spent every summer there fishing, boating, and making memories when I was a kid. Here's where it gets messy. A week after the funeral, I drove up to the lake house, needing some alone time to grieve. When I got there, I found Karen and my stepbrother, Tyler, had moved in. They claimed Dad had verbally promised them the lake house, and they weren't budging. I was shocked. I showed them the will, but Karen just scoffed and said she needed the house more than me since she was now a single mom. She accused me of being selfish and insisted that Dad would have wanted them to have it. I tried reasoning with her, explaining how much the place meant to me, but it quickly turned into a shouting match. Karen called me ungrateful and said I never accepted her as family. I'll admit, I lost my cool and said some things I'm not proud of. I brought up how she always seemed more interested in Dad's money than in being a real part of our family. It got ugly, and I ended up storming out, feeling betrayed and furious. I immediately called a lawyer who confirmed that legally, the house was mine. He advised me to start eviction proceedings. I sent Karen an official notice to vacate, but she tore it up and sent me a photo of the shredded paper. Now my extended family is involved. My dad's sister, Aunt Linda, is on my side, saying I'm just claiming what's rightfully mine. But my dad's brother, Uncle Rob, thinks I'm being cruel to a widow and teenager who just lost their husband/father. Karen's been telling everyone that I'm trying to make them homeless, conveniently leaving out the part about them having the family home. I feel like I'm going crazy. Am I the asshole for wanting the house my dad left me? Should I just let them have it to keep the peace? I don't want to hurt Tyler, but I also don't want to give up my inheritance and the place that holds so many memories of my dad. Edit. Thanks for all the responses. To clarify some points. 1. I have my own apartment in the city, so I'm not homeless. 2. Karen and Tyler have the family home to live in. The lake house was meant to be a vacation home. 3. There's no written evidence of Dad verbally promising them the lake house. It's just their word against the official will. Update 1. It's been a month since my original post, and things have gone from bad to worse. I wanted to give you all an update on this ongoing nightmare. After talking with my lawyer, I decided to move forward with the eviction process. I sent Karen a formal eviction notice giving her 30 days to vacate the property. She responded by hiring her own hotshot lawyer and challenging the will in court. Her lawyer is arguing that my dad made verbal promises to Karen about the lake house and that the will doesn't reflect his true final wishes. It's infuriating because I know it's not true, but it's her word against a dead man's. They're trying to paint a picture of my dad as someone who would go back on his word to his son, and it's killing me to see his memory treated this way. The court case is dragging on, and it's bleeding me dry. I'm burning through my savings on legal fees faster than I ever thought possible. Meanwhile, Karen and Tyler are still living it up in the lake house, refusing to budge until the court makes a decision. The family drama has exploded. My aunts and uncles are taking sides, and it's tearing everyone apart. Aunt Linda is firmly in my corner, even offering to help with my legal fees. Uncle Rob, on the other hand, is fully supporting Karen. He's always had a soft spot for her, and I'm starting to wonder if there's more to their relationship than I realized. My cousins are caught in the crossfire, not knowing whose side to take. Family gatherings have become a minefield of tension and passive-aggressive comments. Last Sunday's dinner ended with Aunt Linda throwing a glass of wine in Uncle Rob's face after he called me a heartless money grubber. In the midst of all this, Tyler reached out to me privately. He sent me a long text saying he feels trapped in the middle of this war. He told me he misses the times when we used to get along and wishes everyone could just talk it out. I feel bad for him, I really do, but I can't shake the feeling that Karen might be using him to play on my emotions. I'm starting to doubt everything. Am I being too harsh? Should I just let them have the house to end this nightmare? But then I look at the photos of Dad and me at the lake, and I feel a renewed sense of determination. This isn't just about a house. It's about honoring my dad's wishes and preserving the memories we shared. The stress is taking a toll on every aspect of my life. I've had to take time off work to deal with all the legal meetings and court appearances. My girlfriend, Sarah, is getting frustrated with how consumed I am by this situation. We had a big fight last night when I missed our anniversary dinner because I was on the phone with my lawyer. I'm tired, I'm stressed, and I feel like I'm losing myself in this battle. But I'm also determined to see it through. I know Dad would have wanted me to stand up for myself. I'll update again when there are new developments. Hopefully, the next update will bring some resolution to this mess. Update 2. It's been 3 months since my last update, and the situation has taken some wild and unexpected turns. Buckle up, because this is going to be a roller coaster. The court case was moving at a snail's pace, with both sides presenting arguments and evidence. My lawyer was confident we had a strong case based on the clear language in the will. Karen's lawyer kept pushing the verbal agreement angle, but they didn't have any concrete proof. Then, out Out of nowhere, Karen's lawyer approached us with a settlement offer. They proposed that Karen and Tyler would move out of the lake house, but in return, I would have to pay them a hefty sum as a relocation fee. I was conflicted. On one hand, it would end the legal battle and get them out of the house. On the other hand, it felt like I was being extorted. Why should I pay them to leave a house that was rightfully mine? After much discussion with my lawyer and Aunt Linda, I decided to counter with a lower offer. We went back and forth for weeks, finally agreeing on a sum that was still substantial but wouldn't completely drain my bank account. Just when I thought it was over, Karen pulled her next trick. She went to the local media with her side of the story. A small Lake Tahoe newspaper ran a front-page article painting me as a heartless stepson kicking out a grieving widow and her son. They conveniently left out the part about the family home and the settlement money. The article spread like wildfire. Suddenly, I was getting angry messages from strangers on social media. People I went to high school with were sharing the article, calling me all sorts of names. Even some distant relatives who hadn't bothered to reach out during this whole ordeal suddenly had strong opinions about what a terrible person I was. I felt like I was losing control of the narrative. I considered giving my own interview to tell my side, but my lawyer advised against it. He said engaging with the media could potentially harm our case if it went back to court. In the middle of this media circus, Tyler called me. He was crying, apologizing for the article, saying he had no idea his mom was going to do that. He sounded genuinely distressed about the whole situation. He told me something that made my blood run cold. Karen had started drinking heavily and was becoming verbally abusive towards him. I felt terrible for Tyler, but a part of me also wondered if this was another manipulation tactic. The timing seemed too convenient. But then he said something that changed everything. There's something else you should know. I found some old letters in Mom's closet. I think she was having an affair with Uncle Rob while Dad was still alive. I was stunned. Could this be true? It would explain Uncle Rob's unwavering support of Karen throughout this ordeal. My mind was racing, trying to process this bombshell. I asked Tyler to send me photos of the letters, which he did. They were vague, but there were definitely some incriminating phrases that suggested a long-term affair. I shared them with my lawyer, who said this could potentially change the direction of our case if we could prove Karen was unfaithful during the marriage. Now I'm faced with a moral dilemma. Do I use this information to strengthen my case, or do I keep it quiet to protect Tyler and the rest of the family from the fallout? Part of me wants to expose Karen for who she really is, but another part feels like it would be stooping to her level. Through all of this, I've been trying to remember my dad and what he would have wanted. I found his old fishing rod in the garage and spent an afternoon just sitting by the lake, thinking about our times together. It strengthened my resolve. This house meant something to us, and I wasn't going to let it go without a fight. The settlement negotiations are on hold while my lawyer and I figure out how to proceed with this new information. I'm hoping we can reach a resolution soon and put this whole mess behind us. I'll update again when there's more news. This situation has turned out to be more complicated than I ever imagined. I'm starting to realize that there are no real winners in family disputes like this, only degrees of losing. Update 3. It's been another 2 months, and I have a mix of good news, bad news, and shocking revelations to share. First, the good news. We finally reached a settlement agreement. Karen and Tyler agreed to move out of the lake house. In return, I paid them the agreed upon sum for relocation expenses. It was a significant amount of money, but less than what I would have spent if the court case had continued. Now, the bad news. Karen didn't leave quietly. On moving day, I arrived to find the lake house in shambles. Furniture was broken, walls were damaged, and it looked like they had hosted a demolition party before leaving. The beautiful handcrafted dining table that my dad and I had made together was smashed to pieces. I was beyond furious. I called my lawyer immediately, but he advised me to document everything and not confront them directly. We're looking into legal options for the damage, but he warned me that pursuing this might reignite the whole legal battle we just settled. Now, for the shocking part. Remember those letters Tyler found suggesting an affair between Karen and Uncle Rob? Well, it turns out the truth is even more complicated than we thought. A week after Karen and Tyler moved out, I received a thick envelope in the mail. Inside was a letter from my dad, dated just a few days before his death, and a stack of documents. The letter explained everything, and it turned my world upside down. Dad wrote that he had known about Karen and Uncle Rob's affair for years. He had chosen to stay in the marriage for Tyler's sake, but he had been quietly gathering evidence and planning his exit. The documents included private investigator reports, bank statements showing suspicious transactions, and even DNA test results. The DNA test was the biggest shock of all. According to the results, Tyler is not my dad's biological son. He's Uncle Rob's child. Dad explained in the letter that he had intended to confront Karen and start divorce proceedings, but his heart attack came before he could. He apologized for leaving me to deal with the fallout and explained that the lake house was always meant to be mine, as a way of making up for the years of deception he had endured. I was reeling from this information. It explained so much: Karen's desperation to get the lake house, Uncle Rob's strong support of her, and even some of the tension I'd always felt with Tyler despite trying to be a good stepbrother. I didn't know what to do with this information. Part of me wanted to expose everything, to clear my dad's name and show everyone the truth about Karen. But another part of me thought about Tyler. He was innocent in all of this, and learning the truth would devastate him. After a lot of soul searching and discussions with my therapist, yes, I started therapy to deal with all this stress, I decided to keep the information to myself for now. I reached out to Tyler and invited him to visit me at the lake house once the repairs were done. I figured he deserved to know the truth, but it should come from me, not as part of some public family scandal. The family is more divided than ever. Those who supported me are outraged by the damage to the house. Those who were on Karen's side are saying I drove her to this with my cruelty. I haven't told anyone about the letter or the DNA test, not even Aunt Linda. I've started the process of repairing the lake house. It's going to take time and money, but I'm determined to restore it to how it was when my dad was alive. Every time I feel discouraged, I read my dad's letter again and remind myself why this place is so important. The media attention has mostly died down, but I still get occasional nasty comments from strangers who read the original article. I'm trying to ignore them and focus on moving forward. This whole experience has changed me profoundly. I've learned more than I ever wanted to know about family secrets, the legal system, and human nature. I've lost relationships with some family members, but I've also discovered who my true supporters are. I'm planning to take some time off once the repairs are done and spend a few weeks at the lake house. I want to reconnect with the memories of my dad, process everything I've learned, and figure out how to move forward. I hope this is the last dramatic update I'll have to write, but given how this situation keeps evolving, I can't make any promises. Life has a way of surprising you, as I've certainly learned through all of this. Final update: it's been 6 months since my last update, and I'm happy, and somewhat relieved, to say that this will be my final post on this incredible saga. A lot has happened, and I want to share how things have finally been resolved. After the damage to the lake house, I decided to press charges against Karen for vandalism. It was a tough decision, but I felt I needed to stand up for myself one last time. The evidence was clear, and she ended up having to pay for the repairs. This legal action caused another rift in the family, but surprisingly, it also led to some unexpected reconciliations. Tyler, who turned 18 during all of this, reached out to me. He apologized for his part in the drama and explained how difficult it had been living with Karen's bitterness and anger. We met up at a coffee shop, and I made the difficult decision to tell him the truth about everything. The affair, the DNA test, all of it. It was an emotional conversation, to say the least. Tyler was shocked and hurt, but he also expressed a strange sense of relief. He said he had always felt like an outsider in the family, and this explained why. We spent hours talking, crying, and trying to process everything together. In a twist I never saw coming, Tyler asked if he could move in with me. He said he couldn't bear to live with Karen anymore, knowing what she had done. After some consideration, I agreed. We've been living together at my apartment for the past few months, and it's been a journey of healing for both of us. The repairs on the lake house took longer than expected, but they're finally complete. Walking into the restored house for the first time was an emotional moment. It looked just like it did when my dad was alive, and I felt his presence there. Now, here's where things get interesting. Remember Uncle Rob? Well, the truth finally came out. After Tyler moved in with me, Karen apparently had a meltdown and spilled everything to the family in a drunken rant at a gathering I didn't attend. The fallout was massive. Uncle Rob's wife left him, and he's become a pariah in the family. Karen moved to another state, presumably to escape the scandal. The last I heard, she's trying to find herself at a yoga retreat in Bali. The extended family is slowly coming back together, rallying around Tyler and me. At a recent family gathering, Aunt Linda pulled me aside and apologized for not seeing through Karen's act all these years. She's been an incredible support, especially for Tyler as he navigates his new reality. I've done a lot of reflecting over these months. While I don't regret fighting for what was legally mine, I do regret how ugly things got. I've learned valuable lessons about communication, empathy, and the importance of clear estate planning. In an unexpected turn of events, I've started dating Sarah again. We reconnected at a mutual friend's wedding, and after a long heart-to-heart about everything that happened, we decided to give our relationship another shot. She's been amazingly supportive of both me and Tyler. The lake house is now a place of healing for our fragmented family. I've started a new tradition of hosting an annual family weekend there, where we fish, share memories of Dad, and work on rebuilding our relationships.